I am somebody who was so sick and tired of men I didn't respect telling me what to do. Like, I was sick of that. My first corporate job, I'm 22, and I'm like, is this what I'm doing for the next 35 years? Is making somebody I don't respect richer? No, thank you. Can you imagine being in a situation where you don't have access to money? You might not even make money. Your money's controlled. You get an allowance from your partner. When you have money, your entire life changes.
Support for Networth and Chill comes from Adobe. Planning your finances means taking a realistic picture of your life as it is now and where you want to be. But you also got to plan for the unexpected, because life happens and you need to be able to edit, adapt, and collaborate with others to reach your goals. Adobe gets that, which is why they made a tool that's just as flexible. PDF Spaces and Acrobat Studio. Your PDF files are no longer static. Instead, they're living documents that flex with you and your project's needs. Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-Acrobat. What's up, rich friends? Welcome back to another episode of Networth and Chill with me, your host, Vivian 2, aka your rich BFF and your favorite Wall Street girly. And you know, when I first started Your Rich BFF back in 2021, I went on what I can only describe as a full-blown mission to stop the spread of absolutely horrific financial information and advice I was seeing plastered all over TikTok. And let me tell you, it was bad. Bad. We're talking about people promoting literal get-rich-quick schemes, suggesting you put your rent money into meme coins, and don't even get me started on the financial gurus telling college students to max out their credit cards to buy crypto. It was giving me actual shivers as someone who spent years on Wall Street watching real people lose money following terrible advice. But here's the thing. I certainly wasn't the only one seeing this absolute carnage of misinformation floating around social media. While I was over here having daily panic attacks about the financial guru industrial complex destroying people's lives, there were other incredible creators out there fighting the good fight too. And that's exactly why I'm so excited about today's conversation. My guest today is a fellow content creator, author of the New York Times bestselling book Financial Feminist, and host of the chart-topping Financial Feminist podcast. Everyone, please welcome Tori Dunlap.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me. And before we get into everything, you are obviously a financial creator online, and much like myself, I want to know, what is one bad financial habit you still have?
I'm at the point where I don't have to look at my money as much. And you get to that point when you have all of your ducks in a row and you have your plan in place and your automations. But there are some times where I find subscriptions 6 months after and I'm like, shit, I've been paying for that for how long? And so multimillionaires do it too, everybody. It's like, I sometimes don't look.
Okay, so the pitfall is the subscriptions that you forget to cancel.
Yes.
But
I want to watch Moulin Rouge. They make me sign up for Stars. I forget to cancel. I'm like, fuck. Because I don't have a DVD player anymore.
Yeah.
Who does? But I'm like, I have it on DVD.
What is something you spend your money on now, these days, as a millionaire, that feels really worth it?
Oh, I like a good hotel. I think you and I are probably similar in that. I am less of a designer girly than I think you are. Like, I'm wearing a Chanel belt. It's one of 3 designer things I own. I find it, I'm so hard on my stuff that for me, it doesn't feel worth it. But like, somebody's going to take care of me for a week and like clean up after me twice a day. Oh, it's like the height of luxury.
It really is.
I want to be surrounded and down comforter cocoons.
Yes.
Big fan of that.
I also love not just like a room, but like a standalone villa with a little pool.
Sure.
Little pool. Because
Absolutely.
You know what I like to do? This is like my secret.
Do you go skinny dipping?
At night.
Great.
I go skinny dipping at night when no one can see.
Yes. Perfect.
And it's literally the best.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I love it when I even get to do it on credit card points. Because even sometimes I'll look and I'm like, you want $900 a night for me to sleep. And then I go to my credit card portal and I'm like, great, I can do this for free.
I love that. But let's go back to the beginning now.
Yes.
Growing up, did your family talk about money? Was there a money doesn't grow on trees lecture that you got, or we don't discuss finances at the dinner table?
I was very unique in the fact that I had a great financial education from my parents, where I had parents who educated me about money, who sat down with me and they're like, here's how a credit card works and here's not how to not overspend. And if you want something, you have to save for it. And I thought that was normal. I thought, okay, everybody knows not to overspend and everybody knows how to save. And it was because my parents didn't grow up with a lot. And so they were like, we want the generational gap to be filled. We want to be able to provide her with good money knowledge. And then I graduated college, or really got into college.
Did you have siblings growing up?
I'm an only.
Me too.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it the influencer only child to influencer pipeline is strong. Like I'm like attention. Oh my God. Nobody look at me. Don't make me sing. So I think that I got to college and started having conversations about money and how much college costs and all of those things. And I was like, oh, I know a lot more about money. And I just thought that was normal. And you and I are both the same age. I graduated college in 2016. I know you did too. And, you know, I was coming into an America where we thought we'd have our first female president. And of course, that's not what happened. And I was the friend all of my friends were coming to for advice around money. And I also realized in my own life, when I had money, I had options. Yeah. When I had money, I had the ability to leave a bad job, leave a toxic relationship, donate to causes I believed in. And I thought, okay, we don't have any sort of equality for any marginalized group until we have financial equality. So started her first 100K on the side, went full time with it in 2019. And since then we've taught 5 million women how to be better with money. And it's my favorite thing to do on this earth is fight for women's financial rights.
I love it. And specifically, since you mentioned, your brand before Financial Feminist became a book and a podcast was called Her First 100K.
And it still is. But yeah, the book and the pod are Financial Feminist.
And you specifically saved $100,000 by age 25, which honestly sounds like fake news in this economy. Can you break it down for us?
Sure.
Like, what was your actual salary at the time? What sacrifices did you make? And what was that timeline like? And how'd you do it?
Yeah. First of all, I like to acknowledge the privilege I had. I graduated college debt-free, and that was a combination of my parents having saved some money for me, but also I worked 3 jobs on campus. I worked a part-time job in the summers. So it was a collaborative effort to get me out of college debt-free, but that 100K wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did if I had a student loan payment.
You got to start at the start line versus all the way back in the parking lot.
Totally.
Miles back.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that before I'm like, here's all the other things you can do. But I automated my savings. So I was setting up an automatic transfer from my checking account to my savings account. And at the peak, I was saving 27% of my take-home pay. So all of that was going either into an emergency fund, into a high-yield savings account, or my second thing was I was investing really early. I was 22, opened up my first Roth IRA. My dad sat me down and he was like, here's how you buy VTI. And I was like, I don't know what this means. I'll figure it out. So it was investing my earnings and maximizing when I could my IRA or my 401k contributions. I was also really focused as well on value-based spending because I still wanted to travel. I still wanted to live in an expensive city. I live in Seattle. I didn't want to have 6 roommates if I didn't have to. But I also had this goal of saving 100K. So I develop the practice that I teach, which is like your 3 value categories. What are the 3 areas in your life where you get the most joy? And then how do you spend unabashedly on those things and kind of leave the rest?
What are your 3?
My 3 are travel, food, and nesting. And really, I mean plants because they're my babies and I love them.
Plants?
Just like making my house a home, which includes plants and decor and like
cute. Yeah. Homebody stuff.
Yeah. And I just bought my first house. So now I'm really in nesting mode. And then I negotiated my salary. So you asked, my first job out of college, I was making $55,000 a year. That's pre-tax, obviously.
What were you doing?
I was doing social media management. That was my background. So I was a social media marketer. I was the only marketer at this security company of 5,000 people. And then as soon as I was like, this is a toxic place to work, I'm not going to be able to make the kind of money I want to make. I left. And that was probably the best thing I did was I job hopped every 2 years. And I never made, at least with my 9-to-5, I never made over $77K a year. So I think a lot of people hear my 100K story and they're like, oh, well, that's easy if you're making like $150,000 a year. And I'm like, no, I was making like a moderate salary. But then I was also making money with her first 100K, not in the first couple of years. But then when it started getting traction, I was like, okay, now I have another source of income to contribute. So negotiating your salary and like job hopping, like I want people to quit their jobs. Like you have more negotiating power when you first start your job than you ever will again. And so if you're in a job where you know you're undercompensated, they are not interested in having conversations with you about compensation increases. I know the job market's rough right now, but there's other stuff out there. Like at least start looking, start networking, because I think job hopping gets such a negative reputation, but we all do it. Like as millennials, Gen Z, like everybody's doing it. And I think it's actually a really smart career and financial move.
I was just going to ask you, because you mentioned like the job market's tough right now.
It is.
Like How do you think your advice changes for folks now, especially knowing with the rise of AI taking early stage entry level jobs, with the fact that right now there aren't as many jobs being created?
Yeah.
And people are actually seeing the gap between the amount of money you make job hopping versus job staying starting to converge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the issue I have is like so many women, especially who's my primary demo, like we believe both because we were told by society and also because we've internalized it that like it's good enough, right?
Mm.
Or like I should just be grateful that I have what I have. And the answer is yes, like practice gratitude. But at the end of the day, if you are putting up with poor behavior because you're like, somebody's going to notice me, they're not going to notice you. They're
Yeah.
not going to give you a raise. There's some organizations that will, and those are great jobs. You should keep them. But I think it is important to have your options open always. There are workplaces out there that respect you, that offer good benefits, that will pay for your family leave. Like there are great organizations out there that respect you, and it's just a matter of finding those jobs.
How do I make myself stand out?
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing that I teach people, especially we see a lot of people who get a certain degree or in a certain job and they want to up level, but they don't have the resume for it, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the specific things on their resume. So what I have people do is like look at a job description and go line by line when they're like, I don't know, shows up on time. Like, I don't know, the specific things that you're going to have, the job requirements. You might not have like a definitive thing where I have done 100% this, but you can say, oh, I did this at my previous job. So my friend Haley worked at P.F. Chang's. She was like a maitre d'.
Yeah.
But she wanted to become a recruiter and she didn't have recruiting experience, right? But it was like, manages time and takes calls and, is personable. And she could say, yeah, I managed an entire restaurant. I know how to talk to people. I know how to talk to people who are angry and really want a table, right? Like she had all of the stories that she could then say, not just like, yes, I can do the job, but I have been doing the job, just not with a recruiting title.
Yeah.
So anytime you can bridge those skills and look at the job description, because that's where we're pulling questions from, right? We're both hiring now. And like we're pulling questions directly from like, what do I need you to do? I'm like, tell me about a situation, right? Like have those stories that you can point to that say, I might not have the direct thing you're looking for on paper, but I have all the bridge skills to show you I can do this job.
Yeah. Do you have the reps, but maybe in a different language, maybe in a different flavor?
Right. I think it's really important.
And so, fast forward, you have this toxic job you don't like, you quit, you continue to grow, you're growing Her First 100K. I mean, Her First 100K has grown into this behemoth media empire.
That's how I feel about you.
Thank you. Talk to me a little bit about like the business now. How has it changed from when you first started it to now? How has the income changed?
Yeah.
And if you're comfortable being transparent, what does the company make and what do you make?
Yeah. Oh, Viv, it's very different, obviously. I mean, when you're first trying to start a business, it is scrappy as hell.
Yeah.
Right? Like
You're gluing sticks together.
It is you and maybe some help that is 5 hours a week because that's all you can afford. And especially when Her First 100K was a side hustle in 2019, like we rebranded in February of 2019 and I quit my job 6 months later. Like it happened pretty fast. And then I remember thinking, okay, I'm making good money, but how am I going to support myself? And then I made $127,000 in the first quarter of 2020. And I was like, this is more money than I've ever
had in my
life.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go. We can do this. So yeah, 2020, I'm trying to remember. I think we made around $300,000 total. And that was our first year of full-time entrepreneurship, which was great. And our profit margin's like 80, 90% because it's like,
just you, your
it's
labor.
me and like 2 contractors that are like 10 hours a week. And then as we started becoming more and more of like a capital B business, you start hiring lawyers and you start hiring accountants and then a second accounting firm. And you just like the expenses go up. At the same time, your growth does too, but things just start getting more expensive. So my life changed pretty rapidly from 100K at 25 to I was a multimillionaire at 27. Like 2 years is not a long time. I spent 3.5 years just saving my first 100K. And then it was like, okay, I have multiple 100Ks now. And that would not have happened at a 9-to-5 job. And this is the thing that is so hard about our work is I and you were really good at teaching people how to be better with money and how to negotiate and how to invest. And all of these things are great. They will get you where you want to be if you are consistent and you're making good money and you're, making strategic decisions. But at the end of the day, when people look at my story or your story, the only reason we are where we are is entrepreneurship. Like I could not invest my way to multi-millions in just 2 years.
Right.
Without, I guess, a shit ton of risk, right? So that's the thing where I love entrepreneurship as the gasoline on a fire of I was already doing the financially smart things. And then once the business starts making $3, $4, $5+ million, I'm like, okay, I get to not only give other people jobs, I get to throw money at causes I believe in. I get to afford a house, which most people is a massive privilege at this point. It's not a right anymore. All of that only happened because of entrepreneurship.
Who do you think should and should not become an entrepreneur? Because not all of us can do it.
I also agree with that.
Support for Networth and Chill comes from Adobe. When you write down your financial goals, you do it knowing that life happens. Your finances evolve, your timeline shifts, and the details change as needed. So if you need to be flexible and adaptable, then the documents you use to keep track of it all should be too. That's where PDF Spaces from Adobe Acrobat Studio comes in. With Acrobat Studio, you can do so much more with a PDF file than you ever thought possible. PDF Spaces takes those documents and turns them into a living project that you can edit, engage with, and collaborate with others on. You can even put all of your files into one workspace and have a whole conversation with your AI assistant about it, and ask questions to get deep insights about your project. You can also invite people to your PDF space and let them add files, comments, notes, and more. You can brainstorm through sketches or even synthesize all the info in podcast form. Acrobat Studio lets you generate an audio overview of your project in just one click. Learn more at adobe.com/do-that with Acrobat.
I think more people should be entrepreneurs than they think should be.
Ooh, okay, explain that.
Again, I deal mostly with women, and we've internalized, we can't do it. Everybody looks at you or I and is like, they have something I don't have. They have some trait in their DNA. And I'm like, no, we just went for it. Mm-hmm. And done is better than perfect. And
I'm stupider than you. That's why I didn't second guess
myself. The risk is crazy.
No,
legitimately. And I think we're so focused as a culture and as women on being perfect. And you cannot, by definition, be a perfect entrepreneur. You cannot be a perfect author. You cannot be a perfect podcaster. I've fucked up 3 times already. But the proof, you have to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And people actually love when you screw up because it means you're a real person. So I think people who shouldn't be entrepreneurs, it's a good question. I think if you are someone who has a lot of people dependent on them, I had the privilege of, I have financially independent parents. I was not someone who had to send money home.
Right.
I did not have children. I was in my 20s. I was in a big city, but was able to go to the networking events and was able to get on a plane to go do an interview. Those things were more flexible because I was in charge of my own financial life. So somebody who is a mom who's, also sending money home, that is immediately harder. You have a lot of barriers besides just what you want to do with your own time and your own money. So I think that's one. I don't know. What do you think? Who shouldn't be an entrepreneur?
I think there are some people who can't stomach the instability.
Sure.
There have been months where I'm like, I am the richest woman on earth.
Yep.
I look at my bank account and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yep. And there's other times you're like,
there's months that I've made $1.
Am I going to lay people off?
Right.
Yep.
And I think that is something that becomes challenging, especially when there are people relying on you to eat.
Yep, totally.
That's a really shitty feeling when you're like, ooh, these numbers don't look good.
Yeah.
But I think, to your point, there was a study done that basically found the easiest way to become a millionaire is to do it the old-fashioned way, right? You get a W-2 job, a corporate job, you job hop, you
go up the
whatever,
ladder.
You go up the ladder.
Yeah.
It's almost guaranteed if you make the right decisions, if you are consistent, if you are responsible. It's almost guaranteed that you can become a millionaire, and there are no other major confounding factors, to your point of needing to take care of parents and ailing sibling, whatever.
Recession.
Yeah. Assuming a normal timeline.
Right.
That's the easiest way to do it. But people don't want consistent or long now.
No.
They want it fast.
No.
And they want it yesterday.
And I will say I was willing to be consistent. I think that is like, I was not the person who was like, this isn't happening quick enough. But I am somebody who was so sick and tired of men I didn't respect telling me what to do. Like, I was sick of that. And I was sick of that, like, from jump. 6 months, my first corporate job, I'm 22. And I'm like, is this what I'm doing for the next 35 years? Yeah. Is making somebody I don't respect richer? No, thank you. And even the way we run our company now, I think is unfortunately very novel. Like, I give a paid week off to our employees every quarter where the entire company shuts down. That's unfortunately pretty rare. But it's like, I respect your rest. I respect your time with your family. Go on vacation. Go have fun. We do unlimited PTO, and it's not like unlimited. It's like, which is actually unlimited. And we give paid family leave, and we do paid menstrual leave. And like, I wanted to build the kind of workplace that I did not have.
A type of place you wanted to work at.
Yes. And a kind of place that I hoped other people wanted to work at too. And especially where we're an all-women team, where women felt not only like the work aligned with them and they felt passionate about it, but they actually felt like, cool, I want to show up to work today.
Yeah. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about women, since we're on the topic.
Great.
You wrote a New York Times bestselling book, Financial Feminist. What does being a financial feminist mean to you?
I think the best way to describe it is that when you have all you need, you build a longer table and not a higher fence. And I started and ended my book with that quote. And that money is our best form of protest. Like, having a financial education, having money, and I'm not talking Bezos money. I don't want that. I don't need that. I'm just talking enough money to do what I want to do.
Enough money not to have to like put food back at the grocery store.
Yes. And enough money to say yes when you want to say yes and no when you want to say no.
Yep.
And to say this situation doesn't respect me, I'm out. That is so incredible. Like, imagine if every woman on the planet had that. We'd live in a very different society. We'd live in a very different world. Like
30-25.
Oh, women who are uncontrollable are the patriarchy's worst nightmare. And like, I love being the patriarchy's worst nightmare. I'm like, let's go, baby. Like, I don't want to be forced in a situation that I can't get out of because I don't have enough money.
Right.
And we get messages, and I know you do too, all the time from women.
DV survivors that have
literally
left.
That's the one. And it, like, I'm a Cancer, and I like can't get through a goddamn interview without crying. But like, those are the ones that just, I'm like, can you imagine being in a situation? I mean, you don't have to imagine it. Women are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Being in a situation where you don't have access to money. You don't have access to your own bank account. You might not even make money. Your money's controlled. You get an allowance from your partner. And on top of the financial abuse, he is verbally or physically abusing you. And you can't leave because you don't have money. Like, that is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. When you have money, your entire life changes. And when we talk about the feminist part of this, is that there are so many systemic barriers to somebody building wealth. And you know, there's plenty of people out there who are going to tell you if you just work hard, everything will happen for you. But that's so gaslighty when you're like, I've done all the right things and I still can't buy a house and I'm not spending the latte money, but I still can't get ahead. And I'm like, that's why we have to acknowledge that there's a systemic part of this that has a much bigger influence on whether or not you're financially successful, in addition to your hard work. So we work to control the things we can control. We show up. We take our financial education seriously. We listen to podcasts. We read books. We follow people we respect and whose values align with us. And then we work to change everything else.
I love that. What's a money mistake that you have learned a lot from in your own personal life?
That's a good question. I think that I have sometimes been hesitant to pay money investing in myself. So,
like, give me an example.
So most of us go to college and we spend an ungodly amount of money getting a degree.
Right.
And then we never really spend money on our education again. Like, we might get a master's or we might get like a certification, but so many people like won't spend money to learn from you or I, or won't buy a course that's really helpful or effective, or even won't buy a $25 book. But what if that $25 book could make you $100,000? And I think that it was very easy for me to slip into that trap, which is like, oh, I'll watch the YouTube video for free. and I would get 2 minutes into the YouTube video, especially like working out. Like that was something that was really, I would do this all the time. Is I'm like, well, okay, YouTube's free and I'll go on and then I would bail because there was no accountability.
Right. No, I can't work out with like a YouTube.
No, because the workout was half hour. I'd get 10 minutes in and be like, that's good enough. And that was not successful for me. So I had to be like, yeah, I will pay $25 to go to this in-person fitness class, or I will buy this book because I know I'll show up and read it, or I will pay for a coach because I need that handholding and I need somebody being like, hey, have you done what you said you were going to do? And that accountability is so crucial when you have goals and you have ambitions that you want to hit. But so many of us pay $200,000 for a college degree, which, we could debate the merits of that for a very long time, but then we never think to invest in ourselves again or invest in our knowledge or education again.
I love that tip. On the flip side, what is the worst piece of financial advice you have seen circulating on the interwebs?
How much time do we have? There's so much bad shit out there. Like there's so many bad takes. One thing is that index universal life insurance is a replacement for your 401k. It's not, and I'm looking right down the barrel. It's not. I think it's a total scam. I think crypto is a kind of a scam. That's my hot take. Like, I don't own any crypto. I don't think you need crypto to be financially successful. If you want to invest in it, fine, but it should be no more than 5% of your total portfolio. Like, we're not doing crypto to the moon. There's so much bad advice. I think one is like pay off all of your debt before you start investing. If you have student loans at 4.5% interest, you're going to be paying those off until you're 50. And then you want to start investing for retirement at 50? Like you've just lost all of that time of compound interest when you could be making 7 to 10% on the stock market.
Right.
So that's my rule is like, okay, 7%. If your debt's over 7%, it's costing you more money. Credit cards, right? We need to pay off credit cards first. But if you have a mortgage or student loans that are typically under 7%, it's actually more advantageous to invest that money instead. So that's when I hear a lot. You know this, the latte, the avocado toast, the Taylor Swift tickets, all of it's so gendered.
I don't hear it about that Xbox. I don't hear it
Exactly.
about. I don't hear it about that new whatever you're getting, like the new
NFL season tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Golf clubs, video games. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, I literally wrote a whole chapter in the book about it. But frivolous spending, and I'm putting that in quotes, is only stuff that is feminine. It is lattes. It's blowouts. It's because you have a shopping addiction. But men are allowed to have hobbies, like golfing. But we're not allowed to go see Taylor Swift because it's the reason we're not rich. And by the way, let's say we stop spending money on those things. Let's say I don't show up to this interview with makeup or then I get told I look tired in the YouTube comments, right? Or then I get told you're not going to get that promotion because you don't look professional. So the very things we're being shamed for are also the things that we're seeing all these studies about, like women who wear makeup make 20% more. And it's like, okay, so what do you want?
Right.
Which one do you want?
Because you can't have both.
And
speaking of women being placed in a box, you are a female CEO, female founder. I want to know, what is the toughest business decision you have had to make, either with Her First 100K or just, one of your Financial Feminist brands? Like, what's just the hardest thing you've had to do?
Firing people's the worst. Like, that's not a fun experience.
I've only fired one person. It was very easy.
Oh. Yeah.
That's not true. You're right. Actually, one fire was very challenging. The other one was very easy.
We've had to do quite a few. And I say fire as like ending a contract too.
Right.
But like also we've fired employees. That's a very hard thing, especially when you deeply care for that person.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, it's really hard when you don't care for that person anymore. And you're like, I don't feel bad about this, but also I have to lawyer up or I have to make sure all my ducks are in a row. I mean, this is going to sound like, small violin, but one of the things that is not talked about enough about being an entrepreneur is documentation. Like, if you are firing somebody, you cannot just wake up and say, and nor should you. Like, but if you have been dissatisfied with their work performance for months, but you have not documented that, you're in a world of hurt. So there were times early in our business where you're just so involved in making sure the business is running that you're like, yeah, that person's kind of half doing their job, but you're not writing things down. You're not sending things to in emails to lawyers. because you have other shit to do that's much more important, until you realize, no, I probably need to let them go, but you have no documentation to support that. It's all in your brain, but it's not on paper. And that's a fun rude awakening when you're a business owner, that there is so much red tape, rightfully so, but there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of, legality to decisions, especially when you're moving quick. You're moving quick as a business owner. You want to make sure that, yes, this is the right decision, but you have to have all of the receipts to back that up. I think the other hard decision that you have to make over and over as a business owner is no one hands us the playbook to our own businesses.
No, you're one of one.
No one is teaching you, yeah, you can go get an MBA, but again, I can debate the laurels of an MBA all day, but no one is coming in and being like, yes, you should make this decision. And I have to make 200 decisions a day. Same with you. I know you're just
exhausted by the end.
You're so tired, and you will never know it's the right decision until you've done it. So just make the decision, and then you'll figure it out if it's right or not, and then you'll tweak after that. But I think it's very easy to come to me and be like, Tori has all the answers. I'm like, no, I do not. I am making educated guesses just like you.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right most of the time because I know how to run a smart business. I'm also wrong. And it's making sure that you are pivoting quick, that you know how to recover from that decision, and that it's not a big enough choice where it's devastated your entire livelihood.
Right. We only have, a couple minutes left, but I do want to pivot to an incredibly light and not controversial topic at all. You've seen the headlines. Sweeping tariffs. Yeah. We're currently, as this is being recorded, in a government shutdown. Maybe by the time this releases, the shutdown will be over. Hopefully. There's a lot happening right now in this administration, this economy. I am trying to be very, very mindful about how I ask this, but it can almost feel overwhelming, like there's nothing we can do. What's your perspective on how we can continue to be smart with our money, with our finances, even across a lot of, trials and tribulations? Let's be honest.
Yeah. The first thing is to acknowledge that it does not feel great right now.
No.
And I know that sounds so obvious, but capitalism will convince you to just keep your head down and keep working really hard. And it's very easy to lose your empathy and lose your humanity with everything because you're just like, I just got to get by. I just got to figure it out. So it's okay if you're like, this is all really bad. This is bad and this is hard. Again, we're the same age. So we've been through how many unprecedented life events?
The whole thing has been unprecedented.
Every 5 years?
I'd like some precedented.
Literally. 9/11, I think we were in second grade. 2008 happened, not super far after that. Occupy Wall Street after that. Trump 1, COVID, Trump 2. There's a lot. There's a lot going on all the time. And so the first thing is if you're just trying to get by, you're doing a great job. I sound like Mr. Rogers or something, but you are. You're doing a great job. I think the second thing, take your financial education seriously. This is the time.
Yeah.
It is so easy to shut down, to tune it all out, to be like, there's nothing I can do because there's a lot we can't control. So show up for yourself. Listen to the podcast, read the books, do the things that you and I talk about. Don't just be a passive listener. Don't just be like, okay, I listened to the show.
Don't watch it and save it. You got to do it.
You got to do it. And you have more control than you think. There are so many systemic barriers, but there are also small steps that you can take every day that make you feel better because you're controlling the things you can control as opposed to just throwing up your hands and being like, what can I do? And I've seen it in my own life. You and I've both seen it in the millions of people we impact every day. When you do show up and take this shit seriously, it has the opportunity to change everything about your life, change every part about how you show up in your relationships, how you show up in your job, what behavior you will or won't accept. Because when you have money, you have options.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing I can cling to right now is if you want an answer to how to navigate this, the goal is to get rich. The goal is to get rich. Now, not in an exploitative way, not in a way that makes other people feel worse, but in a way that's like, I want options. I want choices. And that's what I need everybody to do.
If there is one money move that you recommend every single person who is currently listening to this or watching this make, what would it be?
Automate your savings. You can do this in 2 seconds. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account. Happens without you having to think about it. And if you are somebody who does not make a lot of money right now, $20 a month is okay. That's great because it'll compound without you having to think about it. And it builds the habit of saving. It builds the muscle. If you can manage $50,000, you can manage $500,000 because if you're building those habits, you know that when you do start making more money, you know what to do. You've got it. You've already built that smart financial game plan. So automate your savings, automate every part of your financial life.
When you automate, it takes the emotion out of it.
It really does.
Makes it a lot easier.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute treat. And it's really nice to just get to see you because we're friends. Let everybody at home listening and watching know where we can find you.
Yeah. So I am at Her First 100K on all the socials. HerFirst100K.com/quiz is a great resource to send people to. That is a free personalized money plan for wherever you're at in your financial journey. I'll ask you a few questions. You'll give me your email and I'll send it straight to your inbox. And Financial Feminist is our book and podcast. And I would love to see you over there too. So
perfect. Amazing. Thanks, Tori.
Thanks.
Support for Networth and Chill comes from Adobe. For a long time, turning something into a PDF kind of felt like creating a digitized fossil, like you were encasing all your grammar errors in resin for your whole team to see in perpetuity. But what if your PDF was alive? You could engage with it, collaborate through it, and ask it questions with the help of an AI assistant. You could even let your PDF talk to you by turning it into a podcast. With PDF Spaces, your PDFs stay dynamic and alive, letting you do more than you ever thought was possible. Learn more at adobe.com/do-that-with-Acrobat. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Networth and Chill, part of the Vox Media Podcast Network. If you liked the episode, make sure to leave a rating and review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a burning financial question that you want covered in a future episode? Write to us via podcast@yourrichbff.com. Follow Networth and Chill Pod on Instagram to stay up to date on all podcast-related news, and you can follow me at yourrichbff for even more financial know-how. See you next week. Bye!